perimenopause, and menopause in your gut microbiome. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kristi Tompkins, and I am a women's health and hormone specialist with a focus on helping women during the perimenopause and menopausal years, which is typically between ages of 35 and 55-ish. Menopause means you have not had a period for 12 months and beyond. So today's topic is on the gut microbiome. So our bodies, if you are in perimenopause, I'm assuming you are if you're watching this video, or menopause, your body goes through a significant amount of changes. So hormone changes, as most of you know, are reproductive sex steroid hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, in some cases, thyroid, that's not a sex steroid hormone, and cortisol, thyroid hormone and cortisol might also be affected during this time as well. So with those hormone changes, a lot of women experience the hormonal fluctuation transition symptoms like weight gain, difficulty sleeping, hot flashes, temperature sensitivity, um, low libido, vaginal dryness, lots of other symptoms, hair loss in some cases, or hair thinning, vision changes. What also happens for a lot of perimenopause is typically several years leading up to menopause. And for most women, the majority of women, it's a gradual process that's very, very subtle at first, and then becomes a little bit more, quote, dramatic or substantial as the woman is approaching menopause, where the period finally stops. So for a lot of women, they are experiencing digestive symptoms, gut symptoms, and not just belly fat, weight gain, but also changes internally within their gut microbiome. So because estrogen is dropping in preparation for menopause, so the body is no longer fertile and can procreate, what also happens is there are changes in the gut microbiome. There's something called an estrobolome, which is essentially the word estrogen and gut microbiome, which involves bacteria within the gut that helps metabolize and break down estrogen, but also recycles it as well, and reuses it or reactivates it for the rest of the body. And progesterone also plays a role in this as well. It seems to be more likely that it's estrogen, the decline in estrogen, that is affecting this gut microbiome health. So because the estrogen's dropping, the bacteria that normally are present, that is getting affected within a woman's body. So a lot of women will notice symptoms with regard to metabolism and digestive function and how she's absorbing her nutrients, your proteins, your fats, your carbohydrates, your micronutrients like vitamins and minerals and many other things as well. And so what also happens, so with the changes in metabolism and changes in digestive function, a lot of women will experience things like a little bit more bloating after meals, and a little bit more, maybe more prone to constipation and gas production, things like that, regardless of if you have not changed your diet. Obviously, if you've changed your diet or your exercise routine or any other changes in your life, that will affect your gut regularity. But if that is not a factor, a lot of women start to notice that they're just not breaking down their food as well, as efficiently like they used to. And a lot of times that is related to the drop in estrogen and the bacteria as well. What also happens for a lot of women is the gut becomes a little bit more permeable. There's a term called intestinal permeability, leaky gut syndrome, which basically means that there's a change in the gut barrier in women in perimenopause and menopausal women, where there seems to be a little bit more inflammation not only in the gut, a little bit more inflammatory cells within the gut, but also systemically. So those inflammatory cells will often become systemic, and that can lead to changes like autoimmune conditions, in some cases, metabolic syndrome, and other types of maybe changes within the skin, changes within the muscles and the joints, changes within the brain, things like that, changes within the cardiovascular system. And so that's another significant change. So our gut has a substantial part of our immune system. Our immune system is throughout our body, but we have a substantial immune system gut associated lymphoid tissue, also called GALT, within our gut microbiome, within our digestive tract. And when estrogen is dropping, the immune function is not quite as powerful as it used to be. And so, as I just mentioned, a lot of women might be noticing changes within their immune system. And that could be something as subtle as respiratory infections, that could be something substantial as an autoimmune condition, as I just mentioned. That could be things like more sensitivity to bacterial infections that maybe we're getting from food or from water or other things as well. And so the estrogen becomes this powerful protective hormone and substance within the body to support and act as a defense for women's bodies and women's immune system. With regard to the estrobolome, or the gut microbiome and estrogen, a lot of women will notice changes in their weight. And so weight, body fat percentage tends to go up. Let me be specific here. It's not just weight. It is typically more body fat storage, usually within the belly area, and that's related to the redistribution of fat to the body, to the belly, to the abdomen region, because of the estrogen that has dropped. And so weight gain, because there's the gut helps metabolize our meals and helps process everything that it gets, everything that it's encountered with or comes into contact with. A lot of women will not only have changes in how they're digesting their food, but also how they're storing the nutrients from that food on their body. So usually if we have an efficient metabolism and we're eating a healthy diet and we're exercising, and let's assume that in our younger years, our metabolism was working very efficiently, we're going to burn through a lot of the food or the fuel or the energy in food. With changes in the sex steroid hormones, a lot of women start to notice weight gain all throughout the body, not just on the belly fat. And that's also related to the estrogen dropping as well. So this seems like a horrible, cruel joke that women have to go through all these changes because of the sex steroid hormones that naturally do. It's inevitable. Women cannot procreate for the rest of their life. Men can. Women cannot bear children when they're 80 and 90 years old, 70 years old, usually 60 years old as well. And so there's a reason for this, but with a lot of those changes, there are symptoms that women experience. And so some of the things that you can do, that if you start to notice that your digestion has changed and your gut function and regularity has changed, and not many women will say, oh, my gut bacteria is off today, because that's not really a symptom, but that is something internally that's happening. What you can do is really become even more tenacious and focused on your the foods that you're eating, the healthier foods rather than the less healthier foods that maybe you ate when you were younger, that you can get away with eating and you could probably digest it okay, and maybe you could burn it off. That doesn't happen for a lot of women over 40, over 50, and beyond. Focusing on complex carbohydrates, high fiber foods in vegetables and fruit more so than grains. Things like having enough high quality protein, having enough high quality essential fats, making sure that you are taking probiotics if that's something that can support which it can, a really good quality probiotic can help support absorption of your nutrients, can help repopulate the bacteria. And mainly the two bacteria that are the most affected for perimenopause and menopausal women are lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. There's a few others as well, but making sure that you're taking probiotics that have those two strains, eating fermented foods, hydration, exercise is a big one, especially the muscle strengthening, weight bearing type of exercise that can increase metabolic rate, increase fat burning, and increase gut regularity, but also provide a better energy source, or actually increase energy production in the body, but especially in those intestinal cells as well. Avoiding things like too much sugar, limiting things like too much sugar, limiting things like alcohol, limiting things like a lot of excessive pharmaceutical medications, which will impair how you digest your food, your beverages, and how you absorb your nutrients. If you enjoyed this video, if this was helpful, um, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And I will see you another day.